Welcome to Microchip's briefing. The content of the briefing includes Update 1 Burry, famous for Big Short, places bearish bet against semiconductor ETF. Samsung Elec sold more ASML shares in Q3 company filing. Chinese stock pickers place sector-specific bets ahead of Xi Biden summit. Stocks, bonds soar after inflation data. Investors expand bets on tech stocks as sector still fuels market gains filings. Update 1 Burry, famous for Big Short, places bearish bet against semiconductor ETF. Yahoo! Samsung Elec sold more ASML shares in Q3 company filing. Reuters. Samsung Electronics has further reduced its stake in semiconductor manufacturing equipment maker ASML. The South Korean chip giant sold around 1.17 million shares in ASML in the third quarter, bringing its total holding down to 0.4% of the company. The stake sold is worth approximately $789.92 million. Samsung Electronics had previously halved its stake in ASML earlier this year. Chinese stock pickers place sector-specific bets ahead of Xi Biden summit. South China Morning Post. Chinese manufacturers in industries such as machinery, textiles, and electronics that have significant exposure to the U.S. market could benefit from the recent meeting between President Xi Jinping and his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden. The improvement in relations between the two countries has led to speculation that the Biden administration may review the hefty tariffs imposed on Chinese imports since the trade war began in 2018. Analysts have recommended domestic appliance maker Zhejiang vacuum container and logic and lighting fixture manufacturer Guangzhou Haoyang Electronic as top picks ahead of the Xi Biden meeting. Investors expand bets on tech stocks as sector still fuels market gains filings. Reuters. Several hedge funds, including Tiger Global Management, Coatue Management, and Rutten Capital Management, increased their bets on big technology stocks such as Amazon, Microsoft, and Meta platforms during the third quarter, according to regulatory filings. Tiger Global Management increased its stake in Nvidia by 77% and in Alphabet by 40%, while also boosting its investments in Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon. The filings also showed that Coatue Management increased its position in Meta by 9% and that Rutten Capital Management increased its stake in Amazon by 72% and in Meta by 67%. The hedge funds increased bets on tech stocks come after they suffered heavy losses in 2022 when the sector declined. Nvidia jumps to record high as win streak matches longest ever. Yahoo! Shares in Nvidia jumped 2.1% to close at a record high for the 10th consecutive session, matching its longest-ever streak of advances. The Santa Clara, California-based company's shares have rallied 22% during its latest run, adding about $219 billion in market value. The rally comes as technology stocks rebound amid hopes that Federal Reserve interest rates have peaked. Nvidia, Snapchat with Amazon ads, Airbnb and AI, top tickers. Yahoo! Shares of Nvidia are rising after Bank of America raised its price target for the chipmaker to $650 per share. Analysts believe the company's AI chips are a strong upgrade. Meanwhile, Snap shares are moving higher as Amazon reportedly reached a deal to run shopping ads for Amazon on Snapchat, making it easier for users to buy products from Amazon through the social media app. Airbnb is also rising after the company announced its acquisition of GamePlanner.ai, a 12-person startup notable for co-founder Adam Cheyer, who helped create Apple's voice assistant Siri. The acquisition is part of Airbnb's plan to expand its AI capabilities. AI outperforms conventional weather forecasting methods for first time. Financial Times. Google DeepMind has developed an artificial intelligence model, GraphCast, that has outperformed conventional methods for predicting weather up to 10 days in advance. GraphCast is more accurate than the world's leading conventional system run by the European Centre for Medium-Range Weather Forecasts, ECMWF, according to an extensive evaluation. The AI model uses a machine learning architecture called Graph Neural Network to predict weather patterns by learning from more than 40 years of past ECMWF data. Matthew Chantry, machine learning coordinator at ECMWF, said AI systems in meteorology had progressed far sooner and more impressively than we expected even 2 years ago. ASX to jump as Wall Street soars on inflation report, $A leaps. The Sydney Morning Herald. U.S. stocks surged after an encouraging report on U.S. inflation eased concerns on Wall Street. The report showed that overall inflation slowed in October, and this, combined with a key underlying figure that economists consider a good indicator of future trends, bolstered bets that the Federal Reserve may be done with interest rate hikes. Technology and high-growth stocks saw the biggest boosts, while smaller companies also received a significant boost. The inflation data increased hopes that the Fed may be able to slow the economy without causing a recession, although this is not yet certain. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the 6 Degrees world. Today, I bring you some interesting news from the world of finance and technology. First up, we have Michael Burry, the man who famously bet against the U.S. housing market in 2008, taking a bearish position on semiconductors. It seems he's not too bullish on this sector at the moment. Meanwhile, Samsung Electronics has further reduced its stake in semiconductor manufacturing equipment maker ASML. Looks like they're also losing faith in the industry. But it's not all doom and gloom for the semiconductor sector. Chinese manufacturers in industries with exposure to the U.S. market are betting on a positive outcome from the recent meeting between President Xi Jinping and President Joe Biden. If the hefty tariffs on Chinese imports are reviewed, these companies could benefit. So keep an eye on Zhejiang KE Vacuum Container, Logic, and Guangzhou Haoyang Electronic. In other news, U.S. stocks soared after data showed that inflation cooled more than expected. This reassured investors that the Federal Reserve may be done raising rates, which is good news for the U.S. economy. And speaking of stocks, several hedge funds increased their bets on big tech stocks like Amazon, Microsoft, and Meta platforms during the third quarter. They're hoping for a rebound after suffering heavy losses in 2022. One tech stock that's been on a winning streak is Nvidia. Its shares have jumped to a record high for the 10th consecutive session. And it's not just Nvidia that's doing well. Snap and Airbnb are also making headlines. Snap shares are rising as the company reportedly struck a deal with Amazon to run shopping ads on Snapchat, and Airbnb announced its acquisition of GamePlanner.ai to expand its AI capabilities. In the world of weather forecasting, AI is making waves. Google DeepMind has developed an AI model called GraphCast that can predict weather patterns up to 10 days in advance. It has even outperformed the leading conventional system. Looks like AI is not only taking over our daily lives but also our weather forecasts. Finally, the Australian stock market is set to jump following the positive news on U.S. inflation. This has eased concerns on Wall Street and given hope that the Federal Reserve may be able to slow the economy without causing a recession. That's all for today's news. Now, I turn to you, my dear viewers. What are your thoughts on these developments? Are you feeling bullish or bearish? Let's discuss. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.